I still had this void of what I thought fame would be. And once I had lots of money in the bank, everything would be fine. That's where my whole depression led me. Panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I'm not steering this ship anymore. I just know I've got a mission.
It's lovely to meet you, but I'm going to hand over to you to introduce yourself. How would you describe yourself in just 1 or 2 sentences?
Well, hello, my name's Talia. I'm a singer-songwriter. And I am, it's always hard describing yourself. I sing worship music.
So if I were to say, sum yourself up, describe yourself in 3 words, what would you say your 3 key features are?
Assertive, creative, and probably slightly unhinged. I'm an artist.
I love that. So I'm going to be finding out a little bit about your story. Now, I know that you kind of like compressing your timeline. You were on X Factor a number of years back, and how that's kind of taken you, because you took a bit of a turn, a bit of a change.
Yeah, I'd always been a grafter. So I would work during the day at the airport, early mornings. I'd start at 4:30 in the morning, do a shift, and then I would do hairdressing till about 9 o'clock at night. And that would fund my music career. So I was always doing music, but just going to work would fund that.
So you
so that's where that started.
At the airport,
yeah,
carrying people's bags. Actually, before we start, do you want to ask you a quick question? Now, Simon Cowell said that he would carry your bags. Did he do that?
Yes.
He did, because you started off as baggage carrier to the, my husband actually does the same job. But can you tell us a little bit about that journey from where you started and how that's kind of taken you?
Yeah, so still doing music while working, but with the full mental goal of I'm going to start releasing music soon when I can build that budget up. And then I fell pregnant. And I took some time out of work, which, it really wasn't good for me, because I'd always been a grafter and I'd always really enjoyed going to work. I loved my job. And I never went back. But somebody said to me, they're auditioning for X Factor. And I loved the X Factor. And I always wanted to go to boot camp because I felt like I could really learn a lot there. So I went to the audition. And I went there about 7 in the morning, and I stood in the queue. Honestly, I don't think they saw me till 4 o'clock in the late afternoon, with no apprehension or anything, thinking that I would get through. And they absolutely loved me. I don't know why. I still to this day don't know what my kind of role was on that, because everybody has a character on the X Factor. But that was the beginning of my journey. But I already knew musicians and producers. I was already in the world. I just spent a lot of time off. So I guess it was my way of having a bit of fun and dipping my foot back into the water without fully committing. But then I got through.
Seeking something at that time. I just watched. I hadn't heard of you before. I didn't know who Talia Dean was, and so I went back and I watched your X Factor audition. And I think they probably loved your authenticity. You come across, or you certainly in your audition came very authentic, very down to earth, relatable, and yet you sung with this power, kind of Amy Winehouse-ish kind of voice that came out. And you obviously grabbed their attention. But you then were saying, you were looking for something more than where you were at, not wanting to carry other people's bags. But what was going on with you then, and what was the next kind of step in the journey?
Well, I was a girl with a dream, and that was never going to be enough for me. And I do live my life with my heart on my sleeve. I'm a very passionate person. I'm very emotional. I don't hide anything. I am what you see. And I think they liked that about me, where I was just completely honest and said, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to change my life. And I think it worked. I think just being humble and not egotistical, I think tends to take you a longer way in this business than thinking that, everything should fall on your plate. It's a really hard business. It really is. And it's hard for anyone in the Christian world, let alone in the pop world. Yeah.
But doors started to open for you. What did that look like? What was going on with you? And then how did you hit this kind of juncture that, took you in a different...
When you come off a show like The X Factor, everybody wants a piece of you. So I was making a lot of money and I was really doing really well. And people that normally wouldn't collaborate me were collaborating with me, and everyone wanted me on their podcast. And I think I found it a little bit overwhelming, to be honest, but it was amazing. It was a great experience, but it wasn't fulfilling me internally. I still had this void of what I thought fame would be, and I thought everything would be fixed, and once I had lots of money in the bank, everything would be fine. And it just wasn't. There didn't seem like an end to this search, even though I'd found it. I'd been on every big TV show. The X Factor was the biggest reality show in the UK at the time, and I'd been on This Morning, I'd been on Lorraine. I'd done it all. I'd been to South Africa, I'd met Stormzy. It was a real ride, but I just was still quite sad. It was very strange. So yeah, I don't know what I was missing, but I knew I know now, but I didn't know then that I was just missing some whole heap of faith.
We are, aren't we? We're made to worship, not be worshipped.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why when I was on stage, I was in a band, but that's another story. And
oh, really?
I stepped out of it for a time and worked with the homeless because I just wanted to find, even though we were a Christian band and we were in the charts, but it was getting that grounding. And it sounds like you were searching for that. So what actually happened in that moment?
I had nowhere else to go. That there was no other option. I was being forced back into the church. Every door around me was closed and every person I could have run to wasn't available. And it got to the point where I had no option, where I was in a church sitting with a vicar's wife. Like, that's where my whole depression led me. I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I just ended up there. Every door was closed and it was incredible. But from that moment, I've never looked back.
How would you describe to someone that perhaps hasn't had that encounter, what was going on in that moment?
It was like I'd been given rest. And, he says, I'll give you rest. Well, he really did give me rest, mental rest. And I felt like I had a clear vision now. I felt loved. It's almost like if you'd been traveling for many, many years and you'd not seen any of your family or anything, and it's like that moment you come home and you land on the plane and all your family are waiting for you at the airport. It's almost like you feel anchored. Okay, I'm back home now. I'm back in the house. And that saying always makes me laugh, Jesus, take the wheel, because I just exhaled and just thought, well, what will be, what will be. I'm not going to force things to happen that shouldn't happen. I totally trust in my path now. And it's a relief, an absolute relief. Like, I can just relax now. And everyone, it's funny because everyone that knows, everyone that gets it. And when you go to church or when you go to, I don't know, an alpha course or something like that, you just have this unwritten alliance with other Christians, and we just know where we're going. And that's a wonderful feeling.
And I think that also comes because we hit that moment where we're carrying all this guilt, shame, condemnation, fear, anxiety, whatever, and we can come and we can let go of it. And then actually, when we know we're forgiven, when we know we're accepted, when we know we're loved, that gives the peace, doesn't it? Is the father like coming and embracing the child and say, it's going to be okay. Like, I know you messed up, but it's okay. I'm going to take that for you. And that gives us the rest.
And taking away the fear as well. I did a lot of things in fear, and a lot of my life was fear, and I had a lot of anxiety, which I still do. I'm not perfect, and I do still struggle sometimes. But now I've got somewhere to take it and put it, where before I didn't, and I had to just live in this anxiety. A lot of my downfalls were panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and not having anyone there's no tablet for that, and I really do feel like that is the best remedy for that chaotic thinking.
Well, it sounds like God has taken you, an imperfect vessel, as we all are. He certainly doesn't use us in perfection, and he's now releasing you into a new sphere. Can you talk to me about what is happening now in your life and with the music?
Well, I'm writing a lot of worship music. I'm hoping to spread the word. I really want people to hear it. For me, it's not so much about what money I'm making now. It's about can I preach this to as many people as possible? I definitely lose more money than I make now, but I'm so much more fulfilled. I'm happy with what I'm doing. There's no pressure. And I know that if 100 people hear my song, maybe one person will say these words are really cool and I want to know more. So this is where my life's leading me now. I'm hoping to do a lot more with children, and I'm hoping to do a lot more within the Catholic Church. I don't know. I'm not steering this ship anymore. I just know I've got a mission, and that's to just keep putting out the word, keep putting out the music. And I do it in a very intricate way. I tend to take a lot of things from the Bible and use the scriptures in the lyrics. So even if people aren't aware that they're singing the Bible, I know that they're subconsciously singing good things and projecting good things as well.
So what is it at the moment that is your current thing that God is speaking, to you, that you're wanting to communicate, and the scripture perhaps that grounds that?
My whole life is praise. And that's why this song, Praise Your Name, is so important. And that's where it starts. You have to accept him and love him and praise him, and then everything else will kind of follow. But if you're not on board with that, then mountains aren't going to really move. And it was important for me to have the Alleluia repeated in the song because it's the highest form of praise. And just be grateful and accept God into your life, and know that when you do have these down days and you are feeling very alone, there's a lot to be thankful for and a lot to praise for, especially because I wrote this song and I've got a choir on it, and they're all about 14, I think, all these kids. And there's about 40 of them in this gospel choir, and they're all on my record. And hearing all of these kids sing the highest praise you possibly can to God, like, that's a wonderful feeling. You can't buy that feeling. And to know that I had a part of that, and then Brian come on board and he had a part of that, and would he have done that without me? Probably not. He's not going to write a song about praising God, but I've brought that to him, and I've made so many friends. Cova are a massive part of my faith journey. They have really, I know they're helping me with my records, but they are another massive organization that I hope to do more with. So it's just this wide network that I'm a part of that's amazing, and I hope that continues. Hope it grows wider and wider.
Well, for anyone that doesn't know, that is Cova that's helping to promote your music, and Brian May, guitarist of Queen, that, very unlikely collaboration that God has brought together, and he uses the most unusual and unexpected in ways that we don't know or imagine until it happens. But can I just ask very quickly in closing, something a little quirky, something about you that perhaps nobody else knows?
That's a difficult one, because I'm a social media influencer star, whatever you want to call it. My whole life is pretty much is out there for everybody to see. I don't know, I'm a massive animal lover.
Favorite animal?
Well, it's the fish, isn't it?
Because
it's the symbol of Christianity. It's the freedom to swim where you want and be what you want. And I love The Chosen. I'm a massive Chosen fan, and that's their symbol too. So I'm really into that. And I bought fish earrings as well recently. I like your earrings.
That was when I was in the band. That's how they are. That's older than you, probably.
Oh,
yes, they're older than
choice.
You.
Very nice.
Oh, well, it's been a joy to speak to you, Talia, and certainly all the best. I look forward to seeing where God takes you.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you, Sarah.